That is, of course, the theme for this year's Youth Day, Youth Moving South Africa Forward. Welcome back. You're watching Morning Live. As promised, we're crisscrossing around the country. Palesa is in Soweto. And as much as June 16 represents an opportunity to commemorate those youths of 1976, it's also an opportunity to take stock of where we're currently at and to discuss the current issues. Palesa is going to delve a little bit deeper into that with the Minister of Higher Education. Let's cross over to her now. Good morning once again, Palesa.
A very good morning to you once again, Valen, and a very good morning to our viewers. You are right, we are still coming to you live from Naledi High School in Naledi in Soweto here in the Gauteng province. Like I said during our first crossing, that this is basically where it started back then in 1976. So now, like you said, Valen, it's time to, compare the situation back then 40 years ago and where the country is currently sitting. With me now is the Minister of Higher Education and Training, Dr. Blade Nzimande. Minister Nzimande, very good morning to you and welcome to Morning Live.
Yes, good morning, Palesa, and to the viewers and listeners at home.
Okay, thank you very much indeed for your time. Quite a cold morning, I must indicate, and I know that both of us have flu this morning. But Minister, you part of the interministerial committee appointed by the President to look into the celebration, the 40th anniversary of the 1976 uprisings. How are the preparations?
The preparations have gone well, and indeed they're going to be largely culminating in today's event at Orlando Stadium. But of course other activities will proceed beyond today for the rest of the Youth Month to celebrate and remember the heroic struggle of the 1976 generation.
Because I do know that government has got engagement programs throughout the month. Tell us specifically about your programs from the Department of Higher Education and Training.
Yes, no, our programs also will be quite extensive. We will largely be visiting centers that are catering for young people, providing training opportunity. One of them, of course, is a program of what is known as Harambi, which is a place which assists young people to find jobs, to match them to jobs. I'll be visiting one of their outlets in Orange Farm. We're also going to be doing quite a few of career exhibitions, to tell young people of today that the struggles of the 1976 generation were not in vain, because today there are many opportunities that were not there before. For us as the Department of Higher Education and Training, it's important to do that. We're also going to be visiting some of our colleges, the TVET colleges, as well as taking forward our campaign to say there are a lot more alternatives today than they were back then. University is not the only route to acquire a post-school qualification. There is also artisanship, which our Deputy Minister is pushing as a campaign which we launched in 2014 as 10 years from then, as the decade of the artisan. And to actually say that there are many other areas today that young people can be able to access in order to have opportunities for further education and training, as it were.
Now, Minister, talking about the many opportunities available, for young people in this day and age, are they really making use of those opportunities?
I must say, actually, that our young people, indeed, they are making use of those opportunities. For example, now, our universities have reached more than 1 million. And also, it's a far cry from 1976, where the black students, university students, were a minority. Today, actually, the majority is black African women who are in our university. Similarly, also in our colleges, the majority are women and black women. So our students are making use of our opportunities. Of course, there are many areas of improvement. We are still concerned that the failure rate in our institutions is still relatively high. And we need to work together with the students to make sure that we create better environment for better performance, so that students are able to actually finish their programs in record time in order to open spaces for those who come after them.
And I believe there are still some outstanding thorny issues in your department as well. I mean, if we can refer to financial constraints, some young people are willing to study, but they are constrained financially. So let's talk about the hashtag Feast Must Fall campaign. Can we really compare the two to what the young people back in 1976 fought for?
Well, the two contexts are very different, Much as one can say there are similarities in the struggles of 1976 and the 2015 campaign around fees, it's vastly different, because then we were talking of fighting for educational opportunities in the context of a very brutally oppressive apartheid regime, and where also opportunities were hugely restricted. For example, those days there were only 3 universities where black Africans could go. It was Tefluop in Limpopo, University of Fort Hare in the Eastern Cape, and University of Zululand, which I went to. You couldn't go to any other university which was not meant, as it were, for your tribal or ethnic group, except with the permission of the minister. So it's vastly different. Today, yes, of course, the students are protesting, for instance, around transformation, which is very legitimate, and also about more access, which also is legitimate. But the difference today is that expanding access is government policy. For example, the National Student Financial Aid Scheme, since it was founded, has supported more than 1.5 million students, most of whom are the first ones to be university or college graduates in the history of their families, at a cost of more than 50 billion rands. We are not saying that the students should not ask for more accelerated access, but we are a democratic society today. We saw those massive marches. You wouldn't have seen that in 1976. As we know, in June 16 itself, what happened, a peaceful march, ended up with the police actually firing bullets at young innocent pupils.
Now, the issue of transformation, I know that it's a topic very close to your heart. How far have we gone? Are we really getting there in terms of our universities being transformed?
Palesa, we have done a lot as this government to transform higher education and training, or education in general. Let me talk like that. The fact that today, we are about to reach the United Nations Millennium Goals in terms of access to the first 8-10 years at school is a huge achievement. And the fact that now about 80% of our schools have got school feeding programs, which means that our youngsters no longer go hungry, especially those who come from poor families. There is lots that has happened, say, in basic education to expand opportunities. We have hugely increased the numbers in the schooling system, the numbers of our youngsters who finish matric, for instance. Higher education, also there is lots that has changed. The demographics of the students have changed. Access, government has provided huge resources for access. We no longer have universities for whites or blacks, and so on. But we still have some way to go, because surely the country government does not have as yet enough resources to be able to cover all students who are academically doing well but who come from poor families.
Okay, Minister, that's where we're going to leave it, but thank you very much for your time this morning.
Thank you very much, Palesa, for the invitation.
Thank you very much indeed. There you have it, the Minister of Higher Education and Training, Dr. Bladen Zimande, taking us back and comparing the situation back in 1976 to what we currently have now in 2016. Remember, we'll be broadcasting live the events of today from Orlando Stadium, starting from 11 o'clock this morning on SABC 1. President Jacob Zuma will deliver the keynote address at the stadium, so you stay tuned to SABC 1 as we will be bringing you all the activities as they unfold. At 7 o'clock now, the march will start here to Morris Isaacson High School, and then to Hector Peterson Memorial Site, where there will be a wreath-laying ceremony by the Deputy President of the country, Cyril Ramaphosa. Well, if you want to take part or share with us what is happening where you are regarding June 16, please use hashtag SABC June 16, just to share with us. We'll be looking at your tweets later on Morning Live. Well, like, I beg your pardon, I indicated earlier on I'm down with flu. But it's back to you, Valen, in the studio.
Thank you very much, Palesa. We do look forward to crossing back to you. As she said, there is a march that's going to be taking place as people re-walk the steps of that class of 1976. Nozintombi Mia is actually at the Hector Peterson Memorial, where the march will be ending, and we'll be crossing over to her in a short while. So much more coming your way on Morning Live. Do stay with us as we commemorate June 16.